You should become the next Minister of Tourism.
Well, I think you're first. Yes.
I've heard that most of the Israel people are living in big cities. Why do you think is it so?
Why is it so?
Yes.
I think in most of the countries the major population is, well, it depends. Israel is a very small country, so we are, in population, we are only 7 million, that's all. Out of which only 5.5 are Jewish people. And the major city, which are Tel Aviv, Jerusalem and Haifa, I think altogether there will be around 70% of the population. There are not so many villages like we know from Europe, like people working in agriculture, or it is not so popular or common in Israel, because Israel is very much known for its brain and computers and science and art and philosophy and literature. So what we call the Jewish mind is not a typical farmer or an agriculture man. He is more, I would say, more intellectual or more to do with his brains. And this is why most of the people live in big cities, which are cosmopolitan cities. People look at Tel Aviv and they compare it to New York or to Tokyo. It's very lively, very modern, very high-tech, and the villages or the non-countries are a smaller part of the country.
Thank you.
Like in your childhood, did you speak only German, or did you already knew Hebrew?
So my parents spoke German between themselves. So the first language which I've heard was German. In school we study English, but our mother language is Hebrew. By the way, Israel is the only country where your mother does not speak your mother language. So our mother language is actually the country's language, because my mother language is Czech and German. But the official and the main language is Hebrew, which is the ancient language that the Bible was written many, many years ago.
Like, I'm asking myself, how did it work to make a language live that wasn't spoken before? I think it wasn't spoken.
It's a good question. For 2,000 years, the Hebrew language was not spoken, because in the diaspora, in the places where Jews lived before the independence of Israel, they spoke German, Czech, Arabic, Polish, Chinese, whatever, Russian, whatever. When they came to Israel, one of the missions, one of the tasks that the new state took was to revive the old Hebrew language. Now, of course, the Bible Hebrew is not the same language that we speak today. This was an archaic language which, if you start speaking it on the street, people will think that you are crazy or something like that, because it's a very ancient, it's like Latin compared to English. But then there was a very big movement to make the Hebrew modern, and new words went into the language, words that we didn't have before because we did not use them, we did not need them. And slowly, slowly, actually quite quick, all of the people started to speak Hebrew. And my mother can tell you that when they came to Israel, there were people on the street listening to other languages, and they were telling to them, speak Hebrew, speak Hebrew. So really forcing them to speak Hebrew. Most of the people didn't know Hebrew, because they came from so many other countries, but the regime and the government decided that this is an Israeli state, a Hebrew state. Now we speak our own language. We have it for more than 2,000 years. It's about time to use it again. So it was a kind of a force, but I mean today it's not an issue anymore. It's a modern language, very beautiful language, very rich language, very romantic language, very artistic language, and we are happy with this language very much. I have a very strange habit. Sometimes people communicate with me in English in the email. I mean Israeli people, and I ask them, please, we are living in Israel, please write Hebrew to me. The computer can write Hebrew, just stay with Hebrew. Yes?
How was it for you personally to grow up with a mother who's having had these sort of experiences?
Okay, so as I said before, the second generation of the Holocaust, as well as the third one, which means my children, we can also write our own books, and we could also tell our own stories. Of course, we haven't been there, but something in our collective memory, it's a psychological expression, right? Something in the collective memory of all my generation, who their parents were there, we do have many things in common. So it has to do with either associations, like for instance railways, or uniforms, or high boots, or even the German language, or the Gothic writing, or the yellow King of David, Star of David. All these things are in our memory, and when we see them, we feel, in the first second, we feel a little bit afraid or scared or shocked. Like for instance, there is a big issue with the Holocaust survivors about food. So food is something you have to eat and finish from your table. You should not leave food on the table, because there was no food in Auschwitz. And you could not think about leaving food and not eating it. So also my children, they also don't like to leave food on the table, because their mother is also the second generation of the Holocaust. So we together, we are quite a big force, and it's automatically coming into the second and third generation. There is a lot of research. There's a lot of research being done these days about the second and the next and the third generation of Holocaust survivors, and we can see that there are really symptoms which are really identical to all of us, and also your age, being the third generation. And many books are being written, and plays and songs, and the TV series touching this very sensitive and very delicate time of the Jewish history that was never spoken for many years. It was like a taboo. Nobody talked about it. But these days, it's more and more. People really touch this very open nerve and do things which I think are important in order to deal with this trauma, which is our national trauma, actually.
It sounds like there was a lot of, a huge influx of Jewish families from different countries.
Right.
What effect has that had in the long term? What is the society like? You have many different nationalities in your society.
So in the Israeli society, I didn't count it, but I think we have more than 50, 60 different languages. Same number as for origins, from people who came from different places. The Israeli society is a very diversified society. It has different cultures, music, food, art, language, whatever.